Hey everyone, get ready, because today we're diving into Florence Scovel Shinn's The Game of Life and How to Play It.
Oh, yeah, a classic.
It really is, and it's almost 100 years old.
Wow.
But it's still so relevant today. I mean,
Hmm.
who doesn't want to win at life, right?
Exactly.
And Shinn's premise is so fascinating. She's all about using spiritual laws to manifest your desires. It's like she's saying, hey, life isn't just some random thing happening to you. You can actually take control and create the reality you want.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of why this book has resonated with people for so long.
I think so too. It's like she gives you this sense of empowerment. So what do you think is the key takeaway? Like what makes this book so enduring?
Well, for me, it's the idea that life isn't some kind of battle you have to fight. It's more like a game.
Oh, I love that. The game metaphor.
Yeah, and like any game, there are rules.
Yeah.
But in this game, the rules are spiritual principles.
Okay, so if we learn these rules
Yeah,
and we play the game right, we can win.
yeah.
We can achieve our goals, create the life we want.
Exactly. It's all about understanding and applying these principles.
I'm hooked already. So let's break down this game metaphor. What does Shin really mean by life is a game?
Well, she's saying that we're not just victims of circumstance, we're players.
Okay, I like that. We're active participants.
Exactly. And we have way more control than we think we do. But we have to understand the rules of the game, these spiritual laws that are always operating, whether we're aware of them or not.
So it's like we've been playing this game our whole lives, but without really knowing the rules.
Exactly. And that's why so many people feel like they're losing. They're making moves that don't work because they don't understand the underlying principles.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so how do we learn these rules? How do we start playing the game more effectively?
Well, Shin talks about the power of our thoughts, words, and beliefs.
Oh, right. It's all about that positive thinking stuff, right?
It's more than just positive thinking. It's about understanding how our thoughts create our reality. She says that what we focus on expands.
Okay, so if we're constantly focusing on what we don't want, on problems and fears, that's what we're going to attract into our lives.
Exactly. But the good news is it works the other way too. If we focus on what we do want, on our goals and dreams, and we believe that they're possible, then those things start to manifest.
I totally get that. I mean, I've had times in my life where I was really focused on a specific goal, and it seemed like the universe just conspired to make it happen.
Exactly. That's a perfect example of how this works. And Shin has tons of stories like that in her book. Real life examples of people who use these principles to create amazing things in their lives.
Oh, I love those stories. They make it so much more relatable. So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts, it's about really believing it, right?
Yes. It's about aligning our thoughts, our words, and our actions with what we want to create.
So it's a holistic approach. It's not just about affirmations and positive thinking. It's about really living in alignment with our desires.
Exactly. And Shin dives deep into the three levels of the mind, the subconscious, conscious, and superconscious, and how they interact to shape our reality.
Okay, break it down for me. Those three levels of mind, they always sound a little, I don't know, mystical.
Yeah, they can be a little confusing at first. Think of the subconscious mind like a garden.
A garden. Okay, I can picture that.
It's the fertile ground where our beliefs and thoughts take root. The conscious mind is the gardener.
So the conscious mind decides what seeds to plant.
Exactly. It's where we make choices, set intentions, and direct our attention. And then the superconscious mind is like the sun. It's the source of all our power and potential. It's where our intuition and inspiration come from.
I love that analogy. So we're planting seeds in the subconscious mind, guided by the conscious mind, and nourished by the superconscious mind.
Exactly. And the more we understand how this works, the more effectively we can use our minds to create the life we want.
Okay, that makes so much sense. So let's dive into these levels a little bit more. What about the subconscious mind? How does that play into this whole game?
Well, Shin says the subconscious mind is very literal. It doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. Yeah.
Interesting. So if we're constantly telling ourselves negative things like, I'm not good enough or I'll never be successful, our subconscious mind just takes that as truth.
Exactly. And it starts to create that reality for us.
Wow, that's a little scary, but it also makes sense. It's like those limiting beliefs we have, they're often rooted in things we've been telling ourselves for years, right?
Absolutely. And sometimes those beliefs are so deeply ingrained we don't even realize they're there. But they're running the show behind the scenes, shaping our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
So how do we change those negative beliefs? How do we reprogram our subconscious mind?
Well, that's where the power of affirmations comes in.
Affirmations. I've heard so much about those, but do they really work?
They absolutely can. But it's not just about repeating positive phrases mindlessly. It's about consciously choosing thoughts and words that align with what we want to create.
So it's about replacing those old negative beliefs with new positive ones.
Exactly. And the more we repeat those new beliefs with feeling and conviction, the more we impress them upon our subconscious mind.
So it's like we're replanting the garden with new seeds, with seeds that will grow into beautiful, abundant plants.
Exactly. And this takes time and consistency, but the more we do it, the more those new beliefs take root and start to shape our reality.
It's like we're becoming more aware of the gardener within us, right?
Exactly. And the more conscious we become, the more control we have over what we're creating in our lives.
I love that. It's like we're taking back our power. So we've talked about the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. What about the superconscious mind? What role does that play?
The superconscious mind. That's where the magic happens.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Shinn describes it as the realm of infinite possibilities. It's the source of our intuition, inspiration, and creativity. It's where our true potential resides.
So it's like the superconscious mind is this vast reservoir of wisdom and power that we can tap into.
Exactly. And when we align ourselves with the superconscious mind, amazing things start to happen. We get those aha moments, those bursts of inspiration, those synchronicities that guide us toward our highest good.
It's like we're receiving guidance from a higher power.
Exactly. And Shinn emphasizes that the superconscious mind is always working for our good, even when we don't realize it. It's constantly orchestrating events and circumstances to help us grow and evolve.
Wow, that's so reassuring to know. So how do we tap into this superconscious mind? How do we access this infinite potential?
Well, one of the key ways is through meditation and prayer.
Okay, so it's about quieting the mind, connecting with something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. When we create space for stillness and silence, we open ourselves up to receive guidance and inspiration from the superconscious mind.
I think we could all use a little more of that in our lives. Stillness and silence.
Absolutely. And another way to tap into the superconscious mind is through following our intuition.
Intuition, that inner voice that sometimes whispers and sometimes shouts. But how do we know if it's really our intuition or just our ego trying to get its way?
That's a great question. Shinn says that true intuition is always aligned with our highest good. It's that still, small voice that speaks from a place of love and wisdom.
So it's not about getting what we want. It's about aligning with what's truly best for us.
Exactly. And sometimes what's best for us isn't what our ego thinks it wants. But our intuition, our subconscious mind, always knows the way.
This is making me realize how important it is to cultivate that connection to our intuition, to that inner wisdom.
Absolutely. And the more we listen to that voice, the more we trust it, the more it guides us toward the life we're meant to live.
This whole conversation has been so mind-blowing. I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. The power of our thoughts, the subconscious mind, the superconscious mind, intuition. It's like we have this amazing inner toolkit that we can use to create the life we want.
We do, and Shinn's book is like a user manual for this toolkit. She gives us practical steps we can take to start playing the game more effectively.
I'm excited to dive deeper into those steps.
And one of the most powerful tools in that toolkit is the principle of non-resistance.
Oh, non-resistance. That's a tough one for me. It always seems a bit passive, like giving up.
I get that, but it's actually not about being passive at all. It's about aligning with the natural flow of life.
Okay, so it's about going with the flow, not trying to force things.
Exactly. Shinn talks about how we often resist what we don't want, and we also try to force what we do want, and that creates a lot of struggle and frustration.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. It's like when you're trying so hard to make something happen, and it just feels like you're hitting a wall.
Exactly. And that's a sign that we're out of alignment with the flow of life. We're pushing against the current instead of riding the waves.
So non-resistance is about surrendering to what is, about accepting things as they are.
It's about that, but it's also about understanding that everything is in a constant state of flux and change. What we resist persists.
Okay, so if we're resisting something, it's actually giving it more power.
Exactly. The more we fight against something, the more we energize it. But when we let go of resistance, we create space for something new to emerge.
That makes so much sense. So how do we actually practice non-resistance? It seems like a pretty abstract concept.
Well, Shinn talks about casting the burden.
Casting the burden, what does that mean?
It's about releasing our worries, fears, and anxieties to a higher power. It's about trusting that the universe has our back, even when we can't see the way forward.
So it's about letting go of control, surrendering to something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. It's about having faith that everything is working out for our highest good, even when things look messy or challenging.
I think that's a really hard thing for a lot of people to let go of control.
It is. We like to be in charge, to know what's going to happen next. But the truth is, we're not really in control. There's a bigger plan unfolding, and sometimes the best thing we can do is get out of the way and let it happen.
That's a pretty radical concept,
Yeah,
but I can see how it would be incredibly liberating to truly surrender.
it is. It frees up so much mental and emotional energy that we can then use to create something new. And it opens us up to receiving guidance and support from the universe in ways we never imagined possible.
Okay, I'm starting to get this. So, non-resistance is about surrendering to the flow of life, casting the burden, and trusting that everything is working out for our highest good.
Exactly. And when we practice non-resistance, we create space for miracles to happen. We open ourselves up to the infinite possibilities that are always available to us.
I love that. So it's not about giving up, it's about opening up.
Exactly. It's about letting go of our limited perspective and embracing the vastness of the universe. And when we do that, we step into a whole new level of power and creativity.
This is also inspiring. I feel like I'm getting a glimpse of a whole new way of being in the world.
And that's exactly what Shinn's work is all about, helping us to see the world through a new lens, a lens that empowers us to create the life we truly desire.
So we've talked about the power of our thoughts, the importance of aligning with the subconscious and superconscious mind, and the principle of non-resistance. What else does Shin have to say about playing this game of life?
Well, she talks a lot about the importance of gratitude.
Gratitude, yes. It's like the magic ingredient, right?
Exactly. Shin says that gratitude is the key to unlocking abundance. It's about appreciating what we already have, even the small things.
And when we're grateful, we're focusing on the good, which attracts more good into our lives, right?
Exactly. It's like a magnet. The more gratitude we feel, the more we attract things to be grateful for. And it's not just about feeling grateful for the big things like our health or our loved ones. It's about finding gratitude in the everyday moments.
Like a beautiful sunset, a delicious meal, a good conversation with a friend.
Exactly. The more we practice gratitude, the more we start to see the beauty and abundance that's all around us.
It's like we're shifting our perspective from scarcity to abundance.
Exactly. And that shift in perspective can make all the difference in how we experience life.
So gratitude is a powerful tool for attracting abundance and joy into our lives. What else does Shin recommend for playing the game effectively?
She talks about the importance of following our intuition.
Intuition again, that inner voice that always seems to know what's best for us.
Exactly. Shin says that intuition is our unerring guide. It's the voice of our higher self, our soul, guiding us toward our highest good.
But sometimes it can be hard to distinguish between intuition and just our own wishful thinking, right?
It can be, but Shin gives us some clues to help us discern the difference. She says that true intuition is always aligned with love, peace, and joy. It's that quiet inner knowing that feels expansive and uplifting.
So if it feels good, it's probably our intuition.
It's a good indicator. And she also says that intuition often comes in flashes of inspiration, those aha moments that seem to come out of nowhere.
I love those moments. They're like little gifts from the universe.
Exactly. And the more we pay attention to those intuitive nudges, the more we trust them, the more they guide us towards our highest potential.
So it's about learning to listen to that inner voice and then having the courage to act on it.
Exactly. And sometimes that takes a leap of faith. But Shin reminds us that the universe always supports us when we're following our intuition, even if we can't see the way forward.
Okay, so gratitude and intuition, those are two powerful tools for playing the game. What about those times when things don't go our way, when we face challenges or setbacks? What does Shin say about that?
Well, she talks about the importance of seeing challenges as opportunities for growth.
So it's not about avoiding challenges, it's about learning from them.
Exactly. Shin says that every challenge we face is an opportunity to learn and grow. It's a chance to strengthen our faith, develop our resilience, and deepen our understanding of the spiritual principles at play.
So instead of getting discouraged when things go wrong, we can see it as a chance to learn something new.
Exactly. It's about shifting our perspective from, why is this happening to me, to, what can I learn from this?
I love that. It's like those challenges are actually gifts in disguise.
They are. And Shin reminds us that we never given more than we can handle. we always have the inner resources and strength to overcome any challenge that comes our way.
That's so empowering. It's like those challenges are actually opportunities to tap into our inner strength and resilience.
Exactly. And when we approach challenges with that mindset, we become more confident, more resilient, and more capable of creating the life we desire.
This is making me realize that playing the game of life is not about avoiding challenges. It's about embracing them and using them to grow and evolve.
Exactly. And it's about remembering that we're never alone in this journey. The universe is always supporting us, guiding us, and loving us unconditionally.
That's such a beautiful message. It's so reassuring to know that we have that kind of support. So we've talked about gratitude, intuition, and seeing challenges as opportunities. Anything else we should keep in mind as we play this game?
Well, Shin talks about the importance of living in the present moment.
Being present. That's something I definitely need to work on. My mind is always racing ahead to the future or dwelling on the past.
I think we can all relate to that. But Shin reminds us that the present moment is all we really have. It's where our power lies, where we can create change, where we can experience joy and fulfillment.
So it's about being mindful, savoring each moment.
Exactly. It's about paying attention to what's happening right now, appreciating the beauty and wonder that's all around us.
I love that. It's like slowing down and really experiencing life instead of just rushing through it.
Exactly. And when we're present, we're more connected to our intuition, we're more grateful for what we have, and we're more able to respond to challenges with grace and ease.
This is all making me realize how much power we have to create a more joyful and fulfilling life. It's about shifting our perspective, aligning with the spiritual principles that govern the universe, and taking inspired action.
Exactly. And as we do that, we start to see miracles unfold in our lives. We attract the people, resources, and opportunities we need to fulfill our highest potential.
I'm so inspired to keep exploring these ideas.
It really is. And Shin talks about this idea of divine timing.
Oh yeah, that things happen when they're supposed to.
Exactly. It's not always easy to accept, especially when we're really wanting something to happen, but trusting in divine timing can be incredibly freeing.
Oh, absolutely, because when we try to force things or control the outcome, it often backfires.
It does. Shin tells this story about a woman who desperately wanted to sell her house.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
And she was doing everything she could to make it happen. She lowered the price, staged it perfectly, advertised everywhere, but nothing seemed to work.
It's so frustrating when that happens. You put in all the effort, but it feels like you're hitting a wall.
Exactly. And she was starting to get really discouraged. But then she remembered Shin's teachings and she decided to let go. She cast the burden, she surrendered the outcome to the universe, and she just focused on feeling grateful for what she already had.
So she shifted her focus from trying to control the situation to trusting that it would work out in the right time.
Exactly. And guess what? Just a few weeks later, the perfect buyer came along, offered her full asking price, and the sale went through without a hitch.
Wow, that's a perfect example of divine timing in action.
It really is. And it's such a powerful reminder that sometimes the best thing we can do is get out of our own way and trust that the universe knows what it's doing.
And that's not always easy.
Yeah.
We live in a culture that's all about hustle and taking action and making things happen. But sometimes the most powerful action we can take is to surrender.
Exactly. And that surrender doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It's about aligning with the flow of life, trusting in a higher power, and having faith that everything is unfolding as it should.
So if we want to be successful in playing this game of life,
Yeah.
we need to cultivate that sense of trust and surrender.
Absolutely. And Shin gives us so many practical tools and techniques to help us do that. She encourages us to practice affirmations, to visualize what we want to create, to connect with our intuition, and to celebrate our wins along the way.
Those are such great reminders.
Thank you.
It's like she's giving us a roadmap to navigate life with more grace, joy, and abundance.
Exactly. And the more we align ourselves with these spiritual principles, the more we become the masters of our own destiny. We create a life that is in alignment with our soul's purpose, a life that is truly fulfilling and meaningful.
Well, this has been an absolutely fascinating and inspiring journey through Florence Scovel Shinn's The Game of Life and How to Play It. I feel like I've gained so much from this conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and insights.
It's been my pleasure. And remember, the game is always on. Go out there and play it with passion, purpose, and joy.
I'm ready to play.